to the bold analysis. We am still shooting this video in the side of Kakamega. There is a serious military disquiet about President William Ruto's order for the KDF to surrender some land in Ruiru, as the whole thing turns out that the president's move is just based on the fact that the preacher is his personal friend. And the military ranks are quite uncomfortable with the civilian wing as the commander-in-chief makes a big blunder. Make sure you watch to the end. But as we do that, ladies and gentlemen, today I'm shooting this video on Tuesday, on Monday night. I am still in Kakamega. The women you are seeing here are our project for this month. We're building for the 3 of them. Now, what's happening here is the 2 that are elderly are the ones that are living in that one room. They're sharing that one room, the garage-thatched structure, because the other one, the place where she used to stay, the house also, the house was in a very poor condition, and there is no way she could actually continue staying there. So the community moved her to this place. She's staying there with the other, but even the house they're living in is in a bad state. So what we opted, we're going to start with this one here. The only deficit I have to complete house number 1 is 20,000, 22,000 rather. I think that I'll be able, because I've already sought mabati. My team they've already sought the mabati, the fundi, and I think the bow. So what's remaining is the roofing, mabati, the bows are roofing, and mlango. So if I can get 20,000, I think from tomorrow already house 1 tumemaliza. The next time I come to you, I should be back with the progress of house number 2. So I believe the little can do tumaliza house number 1. I want that by Thursday, the whole project will be done, and I know it will be achieved. So kindly let's support. Those already had promised. If you can fill that deficit by tomorrow, at least nyumba ya kwanza tukue tumemaliza.
Nisimani. Ndio tu. Mimi hakuna nyumba. Mimi nataka kama Mungu nakubali usaidie nijengee nyumba. Naweza shukuru. Kwa maana hakuna uwezo.
Na kungonjwa? Kungonjwa?
Now let me tell you something here. We must get it right. And we must get it right because the president in this context, I want us to get the whole thing. When Ruto visited that Winners Church in Roysambu, and when you listen to his speeches, the speech in that church, there's some, I want you to look at the body language. I want you to look at the reaction, the reaction of the congregants there, of the congregation there, was actually extraordinary. I've seen Kenyans reacting. Yes, people normally react when the president is there and when the president says something. People normally react, but the reaction there was extraordinary. So I want you to get the context as to the time Ruto was asking the military chiefs to surrender a land to that pastor. You will, I've really tried to edit part so that we bring it together and you get the context of that pronouncement so that you can judge. Are they overreacting or the commander-in-chief is right in a sense? Take a minute and listen to this.
Ndio imetuwezesha leo tutaanza kujenga kanisa lenu pale mahali ambapo mmenunua ardhi. Nilitoa amri kwa Ministry ya Lands, wakafanya sehemu yao, na kwa sababu mimi pia ni amiri jeshi mkuu wa majeshi yote ya Kenya, nikawaambia watu wangu wa jeshi kwamba mahali pale ni mahali patakatifu na pale patajengwa kanisa. Na kwa hivyo nasimama mbele yenu kusema, mbali na kupatikana shamba pale, mimi nitashirikiana na nyinyi tujenge kanisa pale pamoja. Nawashukuru sana, mumeniuliza mambo machache. Mumenieleza ya kwamba ili kanisa likuwe vizuri pale ni tuwe na barabara. Na mnajua mimi naelewa mambo ya barabara sana. Asanteni. Sasa Jesus winner. Kama mnaona mimi najenga ile barabara mrefu kilomita 750. Hii yenu ya mita 500 itanishinda kweli? Bwana Yesu asifiwe. Basi hiyo barabara ya kwenda kanisani pale, askofu na waumini wa hapa Jesus winner, consider it done. Of the scriptures. So, Bishop, katika ujenzi wa kanisa letu hapa, mbali na mbali na ile yote tumesema, mbali na kupatiana title deed, mbali na kusema wanajeshi wasimame kando, mbali na kutengeneza barabara, si ndio? Mimi mwenyewe nitatoa milioni 20 kwanza. Ndio. Sawa sawa. Basi mutaanza kupanga hiyo maneno wakati unasemekana mnajenga. Alafu mimi nimekubali pia nitakuja tufanye harambee pamoja. Sawa Jesus winner. Niende nipangane mimi na marafiki zangu. Nasikia Bishop? Niende nipangane mimi na marafiki zangu, tutafute milioni 100 tulete. Mimi pia nataka niwaeleze ndugu zangu watu wa Jesus winner. Huyu askofu wenu ni rafiki yangu. Mara nyingi ananiandikia message mrefu. Wewe ni hivi na hivi, Mungu amesema ni hivi na hivi, simama imara. Saa ile karibu nazinzia, ananiweka jeki, ananiambia mambo bado. Mungu amesimama na wewe.
The serious takeaways from that statement I want you to see. Number one, let me tell you, the president made a similar blunder. Sometime he went to Isili for some event of some launching something, I don't know. And then he said that private developers should be allowed to erect tall buildings around the airbase there. And the military team said they were not allowing them because of the security of the military structure there. And even despite of the president saying he's commander-in-chief and making those orders, they were never effected. But let's make some observation from that speech. Have you realized the way the president is stressing his personal relationship with that church, with that preacher that, you know, he calls me, he sometimes tells me what the Lord has said, and is making a personal touch. In fact, let me tell you, you kanisa, it did something very interesting. Magala mwe hakimpe. They did something very interesting ya to impact skills of training some of their youth members there who can take some jobs abroad. So he has a personal touch na hiyo kanisa. Number two, what was the essence, and someone who will help us, people who understand the policies about road construction. What is considered, what does government consider when they are constructing a road somewhere? The road that is constructed there, I don't think the national government, the National Assembly can set aside funds, or even Kura can set aside funds for that road simply because the church is passing there. I tend to think that can be the responsibility of Nairobi County government. Hiyo ni road kidogo sana. And if you look at, the president wants to construct 500 meters road, it is not adding any economic value to the country. But of course, the people living around that place also deserve a good road. But those are feeder roads that are normally done by the county. But you can see the way the president is having a personal attachment to it. That is very questionable. Number two is about the donation. 20 million, another 120. And they made a very ridiculous statement. They made some statement there that the reason why Ruto is putting money there is because the church is supposed to be a polling station. That church is supposed to be a polling station. And because it's a polling station, Ruto also wants to, mobilize his friends. The president also wants to mobilize his friends to go and construct, because, they are politicians and they normally benefit from polling station. So you can look at the whole rationale about even building it. It doesn't really come out clearly. And the other question that happens is this. The observation we are making about this is this. The president makes this and says, as the commander-in-chief of all the armed forces. True. I tend to ask, does the president, if the tag of being commander-in-chief can be used to influence such a move of giving public land, of giving military land to a pastor, it is not wrong. I'm not saying it's wrong for the church to build. I want to believe the president can get land. Hata kama si hapo anaweza wapatia, anaweza pata. Even his own land ako nayo, anaweza pata. Then are we abusing the position, or rather the power of being commander-in-chief? Since Kenya Kwanza came into power, the president has remanded the country twice. That statement, okay, I think thrice. One, in Isili, when he was saying that the buildings should be erected, the grovers should be allowed to be erected beyond what the county government was saying. Number two is when he was saying mambo ni matatu in Kakamega, that he was telling the Rais to leave the court cases. As a commander-in-chief, I'm ordering you this, and that. And then number three, this one now in that church saying, as a commander-in-chief, I am now telling the military to sit aside. Is that how decisions are made within the military ranks? No. Is that how those decisions are made? It doesn't look good. And And one of the things coming out why even actual military experts are also warning about this, you take allegedly military land to give to a civilian. What is the essence? What is the national good in all this? What is the national good? Winners Chapel is a private niyamutu. You know, yes, it's international, is an international church, but is it a government institution? No. If this land, if the president would have made such proclamation, and that land is going to construct a public primary school or a health facility, it would make more economic sense. But then you just give land to an individual because he's your friend, and just based on that basis, you want the other person to sit aside. It doesn't sit well. And that is what is causing a bit of this, that they're a bit uncomfortable with the way that was done. I understand that our president is under pressure to make people jubilate. And I've realized the president have one weakness, or a bit of a challenge. Akiwa kwa crowd is always under pressure to make new promises. I am afraid this might be another promise that might not even be fulfilled. I can tell you. That 100 at a letter, I doubt. 20 at a peana, maybe that one he had, he can even give there. I doubt. And then the whole thing is based on, his relationship with the other person. So if it is to be given, how about if there is a land tussle between NIS, like Danson Mangatana is saying, there is a land problem between NIS and some locals in Tana River. So if the president goes there, he's setting a wrong precedence. The county, the leadership also demanding, just like you did for that church, as we want to build a school and NYS, Ikonai Shamba, the president is blowing himself. With this blunder, he's actually blowing himself, destroying a very good standing. Now, then the issue is this. As a commander-in-chief, are you allowed to make those proclamations? And where does this put the National Land Commission and the county land docket? Because it borders all that. The other issue is this. When you're a president and you're the commander-in-chief, I tend to believe that you are close to the military and you really respect them. The statement of telling military kaa kando looks like military is inferior in this context. It's like the president is confronted with the two scenarios. Military is demanding the land, is putting claim on the land, and another church is putting claim on the land. They're saying, let the military sit aside. It looks like of course, it looks, the military claim looks inferior compared to the church. And when I was just doing this research, one of a very former military personnel, who is a very good subscriber, very senior, by the way, renowned senior, was actually telling me that he made a blunder because even the military fellows would ask, when the Gen Zs went for him last year in 2024, he didn't go for the church, he went for the military. And as a man, as a commander-in-chief, every president should always want to endear himself to the military. And this is something that Uhuru did. In fact, for your information, and people in the military ranks can confirm this with me, this is what I also gathered, that the military had two wings. The leadership have two wings. There is the civilian wing, led by the president, the CS for defense, and the PS. And you will understand why recently this photo, there is a photo that emerged, I think it was this photo, that Soipantuye was putting on the military attire. And Kenyans took an issue with that. They took an issue and it trended for quite some time. And there is the military wing. The military wing is led by CDF, the vice, and the commanders. But the civilian wing acts like they are the superior. But in real sense, the superior side is the military side. Mtu alikuwa ananiambia hawa wakiambia Ruto wewe ushashindwa, enda nyumbani, utaenda. By the way, even the Sudis will not help the president. If the president loses the 2027 election, that is when you will understand that the military wing is superior. The same way, there's nothing Uhuru could do. Utakaa chini unaona wamechange macho na kuambia yes, they're just talking about transition. There's nothing else they're talking about. So that wing is normally very, very superior. But then Ruto is taking a lot of powers in the civilian wing, and that's why it's affecting that decision. Fellows will have to tell you that Uhuru gave the military wing their dominance, their superiority. And that is why when the time he was leaving, he had a very good rapport with them. Now, why are the ranks and file feeling the Ruiru land declaration was a blunder? It is a blunder because Ruto cheapened a sensitive issue, very sensitive. It cheapened it in this way. Yes, you know, when, of course, this proclamation is done or that announcement is done, but one thing happening is clear that there are, of course, behind the scene discussions going on, or rather negotiations going on. But how does the military bosses go to that negotiation if already the president have told them to sit aside and the title deed should be handed over to the church? How? In fact, it is not even, it is like, sasa sisi, how are we negotiating? While in real sense, if there is a court case in it, I'm not yet to confirm, but understand there is not a court case. The other issue is the intended purpose of the land. That is why it's a blunder. The intended purpose of the land doesn't serve the national interest. It looks like there is no difference between what the president have said and like himself taking that land and giving to someone. If it was being given to some squatters, it would make sense. Even if it was being given to affordable housing, probably. Or at least taxpayers' money inaenda kwa inajenga hata kama wapati hiyo pesa. If it was building a hospital or even a school or an institute, something, or a government office. But for someone to put up a church, the purpose doesn't serve the national good. And kindly, this analysis is not to mean that I demean the church. No, it doesn't mean that I demean the fact that it is being given for construction of the church. But in the context of it, doesn't sit well. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you. Kindly support us. Tunamaliza nyumba ya kwanza tomorrow. I'll be giving you about the update of this at second house so that by Wednesday we can finish up. Thank you.